We are privileged to have the representative of the Prime Cabinet Secretary in the room. We are privileged to have the representative of the Cabinet Secretary as well in the room. We are privileged to also have... so being a light morning today, we are privileged to have the representative of the Prime Cabinet Secretary in the room. We've got a number of partners in the room as well, representative of the Cabinet Secretary as well. So it's amazing to see a great combination of government, private sector, academia this morning. We've got a number of vice chancellors in the room, pulling efforts together towards a stronger national innovation system as well. Frankly speaking, as you know, so it's amazing to see. Yesterday wasn't an easy day for government, private sector, because 2 days ago it became clear that today was civil society and partners pulling that changes a lot towards a stronger national innovation system. And so I was a little frankly speaking, I spent a lot of time yesterday to try and bring energy. Yesterday wasn't an easy day for me. We realized that we had planned quite 2 days ago, and we invited quite a number of guests, others from outside the country. That changes a lot of dynamics. And so I was a little anxious. So I spent a lot of time yesterday to try and great to see that the room is. We realized that we had planned quite a bit. By the time I quite a number of guests, others from outside the country seated, and the room is full. And I think that's really awesome. And great to see that the room is taking our time pretty much full, but at the same time we can engage as friends and so lining up agenda. And the room is full. So with those few remarks, just to give a stage of what we're going to do, then we will be taking our time. For those who may not know, at the same time we can engage as friends and partners on this agenda. CEO of Kenya National. So with those few remarks, just to give a stage of what we're going to do. For those who may not know, my name is Tony. I'll be your host today of Kenya National Innovation Agency, which was established to paint a picture of what the future might also look like. So I'll be your host today, common agenda of innovation, as we paint a picture. Therefore, it's my humble request now to invite, in the context of our chair of common agenda of innovation, who is represented by. Therefore, it's my humble request now to invite the chair of the technical chair of the board who is represented by Dr. Robert Karanja. Dr. Who is the chair of the technical you have a moment of the board of Kenya National Innovation Agency. Dr. Karanja, if you're here, you have a moment. As Dr. Karanja comes, I believe you have a couple of documents on your Dr. table. Karanja comes, we have the report I believe the Kenya Innovation Week 2022 on your table. We have the report get a sense of Kenya Innovation Week 2022. You will also see that you'll get a sense of a report on the SEAL Summit, which we held last year, which is really building momentum around the university and higher education system and its contribution to the national innovation system. Over to you, Robert.
Yes. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everyone. Excellent. I know I'm competing with delicious food from this establishment, so it's quite a tough job to be up here. Let me just see. Into a glass, a glass half empty, into a glass half full So Kenya Innovation Week is that platform that allows us to come together and celebrate the culture of innovation, celebrate the culture of entrepreneurship, celebrate the culture of being able to create opportunities out of challenges. And today, as we begin this journey towards the Kenya Innovation Week, we're delighted to have with us our partners from the Commonwealth that will be enjoined with us in terms of helping us to start living up to that expectation that indeed Kenya can be a leader in terms of innovation, and not just a self-serving innovation, but we can actually be true global citizens and contributing our equal share towards the challenges that we face as the world. As you know, our president has been very vocal about issues to do with climate change. Even today, this cold weather, sometimes I feel like we are caught up between a rock and a hard place. Nairobi can be quite chilly, and at times we are facing, we've had just the longest drought in the last 40 years. So pendulum that's swinging back and forth. But nonetheless, we believe that it's one of those areas that we do need to innovate. We do need to be able to create solutions that can save our planet. I will not take too long. I think I want to just again reiterate that it's only my distinguished pleasure to welcome you and to officially open the breakfast conversation. So I want to hand it back to Tony. Asanteni sana.
Thank you. I hope that was what was expected. Oh, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So we are honored as well to have some members of the board represented. And thanks, Robert, for covering the space of board members. And now invite Country Director for the British Council, Tom Peters. We've had an opportunity to work with the British Council in a number of forums, and that's part of why even the university ecosystem is in the room. We've collaborated in a number of ways to strengthen the entrepreneurial potential of institutions. And we've got a program that, is taking shape in very, very promising way. Over to you. Let's appreciate Tom.
Good morning, everybody. Morning. My name's Tom Porter. I'm the Country Director for the British Council here in Kenya. We are the UK's international organisation for educational opportunities and cultural relations. That can sound a little bit waffly, which it can be at times, but that's why it's great to come to events like this where we've got very tangible activities that we're up to. Why are we here? I guess we want to be part of this conversation. We really appreciate the opportunity to work with the National Innovation Agency and to work with the leadership programme that we'll be launching later today. We think that universities are very well placed as part of the ecosystem to create the skills needed for graduates, but also the leadership needed for the national innovation ecosystem. We're also really interested in, I think, what's been mentioned already, is being part of ideas that are relevant to the world. So it's brilliant to see, I think, innovations that are happening here that are helping to make the UK and other countries in the world a better place. I guess this is slightly personal to me too. I left university, and for a long time I didn't have meaningful work. It took a while, and I was lucky enough to engage with a local government agency in London, who gave me a very small grant and a little bit of training about business development. And from there, I created a company and ran that for 6 years. I was able to sell that to explore my career in international work, and so I'm very privileged to be here today. But I guess that's for me, innovation isn't just about becoming an entrepreneur, because entrepreneurship, as we know, is quite hard. It's not for everyone. It's a very important part of the ecosystem, but the entrepreneurial mindset, the innovative mindset, I think is really important. So I also appreciate that opportunity that we have today to think about how innovation and leadership go together, so importantly, to look at the challenges that we share today. So thank you for coming. Thank you for having us part of this conversation, and I look forward to hearing more about how we can work together going forward. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom. Now we're transitioning to another phase with that little stage set. We've got many partners in the room, and I think the comfort that we have is, there's something or someone or some institution or some country that you can look up to depending on the kind of efforts that you have at a particular point. And we realized a little while back that as a national innovation agency, we feel that we have two areas that we really need to strengthen. One is commercialization systems, and this is really the policy issues, the institutional issues, capacity issues, to translate as much of intangible assets or research outputs into commercial value. And so we prioritize that as one area. And over the last 2 or so years, we've put in some efforts to support each of those areas. And then the second priority area we've got actually is on the startup economy. And this year, we're pulling in a lot of momentum. We are supporting the startup bill, the establishment of the startup fund, an innovation fund, and a range of a set of issues, including collaboration of incubation centers, standards for technology transfer offices, and so on and so forth. And then we realized that we have one interesting opportunity. How can we also pull together institutional leaders to support one another, to learn from one another, and inspire one another for a greater contribution of institutions of higher learning towards the transformation of the innovation potential, not only for their own institutions, but also for their entire country. And so we came up with what we call a network of institutional leaders, and that's what we call NIEL. So I'm going to invite you to watch a short clip. We've spent about 7 months or so, trying to frame it, and now we have a very good sense of how this network is going to play out. So I'll invite you to watch a short clip. It may not be super clear, but at least you'll get a sense what we're trying to do. George. Our interventions in Kenya are in 3 levels. What national interventions? This is where we think through our policy environment, our tracking of the national performance, and so on and so forth. And then we've got institutional interventions. And this is where we try to think about how do we make this institution called University of Kabianga a key player of the national innovation system. Can it be even better?
This is the best time for us to start asking ourselves, what will the university of the future look like?
One of the key strategies is to ensure that universities start ensuring they have alternative ways of supporting themselves in terms of not relying on government. That is to commercialize their research. That is one of the ways in which we are encouraging them. We are also encouraging them to use their idle assets, which they have at the university level. We are encouraging them to come up with investment vehicles so that they can be able to start businesses which can be able to bring alternative funding models for themselves.
For a long time, you find students have an idea of what they want to do, but they have nobody to hold their hand and show them this is how you develop your idea, this is how you commercialize your idea, this is how you make money out of your idea. So what we decided to do is build capacity of our faculty members first. And so once the faculty members have the know-how to help these students, then the students is like a light bulb moment. They're very, very keen.
We have developed quite a number of seeds, varieties for various regions of the country. Like now we have beans, varieties which are for short rain areas, what we can call literally semi-arid areas, and these are doing well, and they are in the market being sold through some of the seed companies.
This is just a way of getting to go to that direction of entrepreneurial institutions. We are still in the early stages, and that's why we are looking for partners who will walk the journey with us. Kenya Innovation Agency have been very, very supportive, the British Council.
Kenya is coming on board and is trying to put us together to really think through some of the issues that we have in our own policies, research policy, intellectual policy, now can be nicely mainstreamed and anchored at the national level.
The British Council is a strong supporter of the Kenya network of entrepreneurial institutions leaders because we believe in the importance of leaders in higher education sector driving the process of change within their institutions. We want to create an environment where young people can thrive and where both graduates as well as higher education institutions contribute, as I said earlier, to that ecosystem of entrepreneurship and innovation. We are proud of this partnership with Kenya, with the Kenya National Innovation Agency, and we hope that the network that's being established here today is going to become a driving force for change in the country moving forward.
Stage for a new phase of the contribution of our academic institutions to the national innovation system. No one doubts the value and no one doubts the impact that institutions have had over time, no question. But there is a huge opportunity again to leap forward and kind of provide leadership in that area. So the network now has a council, and the council has a leadership. And it's now my humble opportunity to invite the chair of NIEL, Professor Stephen Kiama, who is the Vice Chancellor of the University of Nairobi. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Tony Omwansa. I want to acknowledge all of you who are here this morning. Tom Uganda, the chair of the Kenya National Innovation Agency. I saw the Chief of Staff from the Prime Cabinet Secretary, Tom Potter, the County Director, British Council, together with Monica, who has been supporting us quite a bit. The members of the Council includes Professor Ailo, who is the Vice Chair, and also I see Professor Kibwage there, who is a member of the Council. I think Professor Gateru, I was indicated he is also on the way coming. I stand before you today with great pride and enthusiasm as the first chairperson of this network, the Kenya Network of Entrepreneurial Institutions. Our gathering here is not just a mere meeting, but a powerful convergence of minds to discuss the pivotal role of universities and research institutions in propelling a robust Kenya and Africa innovation-based economy. We have several universities in Kenya, both public and private. And in those universities, we have over 500,000 students. And we have kept asking ourselves, what is our role besides producing the many degrees, diplomas, and the other certificates that we produce? Is it possible that we continue to produce those who go out there, they don't get opportunities to serve because they were looking for other people to have created those opportunities for them, and they didn't, and that results to a lot of agitation and instability in the country because they are surely going to be restless. We have a huge youth budge, which has resorted to what unemployment in the country and in the rest of Africa. It's estimated that about over 65% of our population is less than 35 years. And if we don't do something as universities in addressing this issue of creating job opportunities, they will reach a point when those who don't have jobs, you think that the lifestyle we are leading today is through denying them to lead a better life also. And that is what leads to a real revolution. So as universities, we thought that we must lead in doing something. Obviously, we have issues of food insecurity that have to be addressed, and it requires innovative ideas to address that problem. I was reading the newspaper just this morning, and you find that in most of our counties, from the Kenya Bureau of Statistics, they barely get a quarter of what they eat. They barely produce a quarter of what they eat. Where are they getting the other 75% from? And actually, it was just about 6 or so of our counties which were getting about a quarter. The rest were just below that. Where are they getting their food they are getting from? And why is it that we are not being able as a country to move faster on that issue of addressing the food security? Is it that can the universities play a role in addressing this matter through innovations so that the youth feels that that is an area they can enter into? Yeah. Obviously, the issue of climate change is a problem, and we must look for innovative solutions to deal with it. It was not there before, now it is there with us. So we cannot use just the traditional methods, although we can learn a few from how people have lived in the past, but we need to learn new ways of dealing with a new thing, just like the way we did when we had the COVID-19. We had to come up with a different way, different approach to deal with it. We have to find, to enter into that issue of innovation. The issue of digitalization and Internet of Things has brought about the shift on the traditional jobs. So again, there is a need to begin to think what are new ways we need to approach this matter. And obviously the issue of globalization. Now anybody can sell their products anywhere. So, as a country, if we do not lead in innovation and addressing our needs, the tools we require, and the products we require, then others will bring their solutions here. And if they bring their solutions here, then they create wealth. We don't create wealth, we become poorer and poorer as a result of the flight of our foreign currency. So there is no other way out of this except what we are doing. And we appreciate the British Council and all other partners for supporting us in this under the leadership of the Kenya National Innovation Agency, and now the leadership we have created of this network led by the universities. This is a messy problem, and definitely all messy problems require collaboration. They require collaboration. They don't have one way of solving them. And not any one person has all the solutions that are required. It is the ideas that can come from everyone, from the industry, from the policymakers, from the universities, from the students, from the scholars, from the farmers, from everyone, and those who have money. All of us, if we come together, we will be able to solve this problem. We recognize that there are barriers that impede the effective innovation, building the effective innovation ecosystem in our countries. And one of the major barriers is obviously funding, inadequate access to capital, and obviously lack of an appropriate infrastructure in the country. And that's why we are trying to do this, what we are trying to do, to begin small, hoping that we'll be able to address this problem collectively together. We know that, for example, in this country, the Science, Technology and Innovation Act provides for about 2% of the GDP to be set aside for research, for instance. Unfortunately, that has not happened because there are those perhaps who believe that this will not create the necessary political impact to get more votes here. But you may get votes, but then tomorrow you are out of office because the youth are all over the place here. So that is a short-term solution. The long-term solution is to invest in research and to invest in the innovation in the country, because that's where we build the wealth. Some have been talking about increasing the cake. Yeah. increase the size of the cake so that everybody can get something, including those, the young people who are coming in the job market. We have a responsibility. We have a responsibility as academic institutions to lead in this, because we have the best brains in the universities. We admit the cream in the universities. We have the faculty which is doing research every day. How do we ensure that this research, in addition to generating the knowledge which you help to build on new and new ideas, how do we also begin also to address the immediate problems through providing solutions through innovations ecosystem? And that is something we are ready to lead in as a network. And this is precisely why this Kenya network of entrepreneurial institutions was created. It is a platform for institutional leaders to unite, collaborate, and co-create innovative solutions and catalyze and fuel innovation and entrepreneurship in institutions of higher learning and beyond. It is created to encourage, grow institutions' potential to develop, promote, nurture, and drive sustainable innovation and entrepreneurial ecosystem within the institutions and by extension, the country. We have developed a lot of interest. I think recently we traveled with Tony Omwaza, who is the secretary of this council. And I've also on my own tried to go and explore and find out what others are doing. And you find, like, for example, even in the training of engineering, they are beginning, many universities are beginning to repackage engineering so that the engineers are at the core of every process to find out on how they can simplify the processes that are being used. And as a result, you find that those engineers are being absorbed very quickly, and even more, they are also, as they leave the university, many of them are coming out with startups. I was in one university where in every week they produce two startups, not from faculty but from students. It is because of the way the universities have built, or the university have built an unnecessary infrastructure to support this. And that this network will be working on this. The NIEL has three objectives. One of them is obviously to enhance the peer learning, capacity, collaboration, and evaluation to advance higher education, institutions' initiative to promote, and therefore to promote innovation and entrepreneurship. Also to strengthen entrepreneurial ecosystem within and around universities that integrate teaching and learning, research, academic staff, and students through strategic partnerships. And they also aid in national and regional efforts to strengthen institutional arrangements that drive innovations. We have lined up several activities, and one of them is to organize national and regional forums, such as the summit, the SEAL summit that will be coming soon, for institutions to exchange best practices. And they also we are also developing processes to recognize and celebrate excelling members and individuals, so that we can spotlight those who succeed in this issue of innovation, and hopefully others will learn from them and move in that direction of innovation. NIEL will be working with the Kenya National Innovation Agency to run the annual Commercialization and Entrepreneurial Institution Leaders Summit. This year, the dates are set for 17th to 19th October in Mombasa, and that was already highlighted by the chairman, as a pivotal event within NIEL framework to offer a powerful stage to showcase best practices, celebrate successes, and shape the trajectory of our collective academic founded innovation efforts. Through SAIL Summit, we explore mechanism of getting innovation to the market, establishing technology, transfer offices, and nurturing an entrepreneurial mindset. But we cannot achieve our goals alone, as I had said earlier. Collaboration is a cornerstone of our success. That is why I urge all of you, as esteemed university vice-chancellors, CEOs, partners, and ecosystem enablers, to join hands with us in this transformative journey. Asante, and God bless you.
Let's appreciate Vice Chancellor and Chair of the NIEL Network. You know, I was his student once, and then I became a colleague in the university, and he was my principals, and now we're working together. Life is good, isn't it? All right. Now, I have had opportunities to discuss with the Vice Chancellor that he now carries a very big burden in the role as the chair of NIEL. Not only does he speak as the Vice Chancellor of the University of Nairobi, he now continues to speak as the national leader, championing the institutions to move forward and contribute to the national innovation system. Let's appreciate Vice Chancellor Kiama, and I'm going to invite other council members who are in the room, as well as any other Vice Chancellor who is in the room. Just welcome aboard, or if you're representing a Vice Chancellor, please come. We want to make a small celebration of the takeoff of the NIEL network. All right. I think this is in appreciation of the effort that has come together to shape the NIEL network. The council is 7 members, and it's formally taken off, and we will gradually see many of the efforts that will come out of the network. Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. We'll now transition to another phase. Now, as far as we're concerned, academic institutions really are that nucleus of national innovation system, because that's where the pipeline really comes from. Skills, mindsets, multicultural perspectives, challenges, and so on and so forth. Now, beyond that perspective, we've got the international perspective. So how does the policy environment also get organized in a way that then strengthens the national innovation system? Of course, we've got layers and layers of policy documents. But today we have an opportunity to reflect a little bit about innovation in terms of countries and the policy atmosphere. So the Commonwealth, who are great partners for the Innovation Week 2023 that we are about to unveil in a little while now, has led an effort towards putting together a policy framework for national innovation systems. So it's my humble honor now to invite the Commonwealth team, who will lead a small panel to engage a little bit about this policy atmosphere. And I invite Anita Collins, who flew all the way from London specifically to be here this morning. And let's appreciate Anita, who works at the Commonwealth Secretariat, to lead the panel.
Thank you, Tony. Good morning, everyone. Excellencies, our designated guests, we're all very happy to have you here. What we have this morning is a panel discussion based on a local guide that the Commonwealth Secretariat has researched in all Commonwealth member states, which are 56 nations. And these are examples and case studies of what governments and organizations from the private sector and the public sector have done to innovate using absolutely almost nothing. It's not really about technology, but it's a resource for all governments. It's a resource for all of you in the private and public sectors to use, and I hope that we can get copies out as soon as possible, Agnes. Not to waste any of your time, I just wanted to introduce the panelists for this morning. We have 2 Commonwealth Innovation Award winners on the panel, and we have a professor for international innovation, and we have our senior director from the Commonwealth. So George, I hope we have a panelist. Right, okay. Thank you. I'll start off with our first major panelist, who is... Mr. Richard Ara. Mr. Richard Ara is from Kenya, and he is the 2021 winner of the Commonwealth Secretary General's Innovation for Sustainable Development Awards, and he works in household renewable energy technologies. He is also the CEO and founder of CIST Technologies, which is a biotech manufacturing startup producing ethanol fuel, and he is based in Kisumu. Richard trained in technology commercialization from the Royal Academy of Engineering UK, and in business and financial management at Cape Innovation Technology. He has years of experience in change management, lean manufacturing, and operational efficiency. So this morning, Richard, welcome. We're live in Nairobi, and we're happy to have you live from Kisumu. We just wanted to hear your comments on the low-cost guide, and in the room here we have policymakers, decision makers, people from government, the public sector as well, and the private sector. If you could just give us your comments on the low-cost guide as an innovator that was recognized, obviously by the Commonwealth, but also by your government, on what your thoughts are.
Thank you very much, Anita. To the chief guest, all protocols observed, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. My name is Richard Arwa. As it has been said, I'm the founder of CIST East Africa Industries Limited. We are based in Kisumu, Kenya, and basically we manufacture the bioethanol fuel from local materials. It is my pleasure to be here this morning and share with you my experience this particular day. And I wanted to talk a little bit about the low-cost innovations. We are all aware and we understand that many Kenyans are trying to get maybe how to live because there is no employment and all that. Many Kenyans are trying to get into the field of innovations to come up at least with some products that can solve our local problems. I want to say that a low-cost innovation should at least have the elements of at least substantial cost reduction in the operations. There must be that element of cost reduction in the value chain of the operations, because resources are a very big limiting factor in the innovations. However, a low-cost innovations must also fulfill the core features of the product or service. At least you must meet the features of your product or service so that your customers can be satisfied. But your product and service must also optimize the performance. I want to say that many people look at innovations as a very big thing, maybe to come up with a very big inventions like Internet of Things, 3D printers. But we realize that there are so much potentials of Kenyans with very much low-cost innovations in the grassroots level. For example, at CIST Africa, we use local materials, which is basically water hyacinth from Lake Victoria, and we convert it into bioethanol cooking fuel, which is a clean cooking energy, and it's providing clean cooking energy to the local community around here. This is an innovation that does not require a lot of capital investment in it, but it is providing a solutions to the local communities. There are so many such innovations within us, and this can solve so many problems, especially in the field of agribusiness, renewable energy, and even in education, and all sectors are close. A good example is also maybe Dalarieko, which is just agricultural innovations in Sia County. They don't do a lot. They just produce their local manure to produce food, and the food they produce is more than the food that the local community can eat. They have just come up with local solutions to make their own fertilizers, which they use to develop the value chain within their local community. The low-cost innovations can be achieved in so many ways. One, we must foster partnership The innovators must seek partnerships with appropriate institutions. For example, at East Africa, we partner with research institutions, the Marcel University, Kirdi, and Bondo University, where we benefit from the research output and we implement as a startup. Also, in low innovations, we must embrace the idea of circular economy. Previously, products have been produced by manufacturers getting raw materials from the environment, converting it into finished product, and they dispose the waste into the environment. That is linear economy, where a lot of resource is wasted. Now the innovators must think a way of maybe recycling whatever they get from their processing to be raw materials for starting up. Like in East Africa, we mainly use raw waste materials, the water hyacinth, the sugarcane bagasse, to produce clean cooking energy. And our waste material we use to generate the biogas, which is used to empower the distillery system. So almost everything from our system is reused, is recycled back, and this really minimizes the cost of operations. As much as I want to say that the innovations has taken root in Kenya, but I want to say that we, the innovators, the low-cost innovators, also still face some small challenges that need to be addressed. One is in the knowledge gap. We realize that the research institutions where our good partner Kenya is, there is a lot of emphasis on training entrepreneurships at high institutions. But majority of Kenyans don't go through university. They end up somewhere. Majority drop after Form 4. So it is my challenge to the Kenya and other research institutions to reach to high schools where majority of the youths are, so that they can pass over this knowledge transfer and all that. Another big challenge we have all noticed is resource challenge. Most innovators lack the capital so that they can commercialize and realize full potential of their innovations. Most of these innovations require machineries and equipment that we cannot easily access. Most of these innovations require some office space to operate. So the resource limitation is a big challenge to low-cost innovations. Then comes another challenge of the legal challenges. The process of registering business and doing business should be as simplified as much as possible, so that majority of Kenyans can register their innovations. Because of so many challenges and a long procedure of registering business and getting operation licenses, many low-cost innovations end up getting up in informal sectors. So they are not registered officially, they don't do business officially, and they cannot be recognized anywhere. They just disappear in the informal sectors to avoid these challenges of legal challenges. Then the other issue is the policies that exist. I want to say that the policies that exist in our country, Kenya today, it is trying to shift towards innovation and entrepreneurship, but not so much because, as had been said by previous presenters, very small budget is allocated to innovation and entrepreneurship. About 10 years, 15 years ago, a program was introduced in Kenya, the CDF, which has really revolutionized the constituencies. How I wish maybe the government could allocate some fund, maybe like something like Constituency Innovation and Entrepreneurship Fund, so that the grassroots innovations in the villages can be supported financially in terms of capacity building so that they can thrive. The Kenyans know the role of CDF in developing our constituencies. So let's prioritize innovation and entrepreneurships. In this way, I believe we'll promote the local innovations and entrepreneurships. Other challenges maybe are in environmental regulations. It is a big challenge. Like to get environmental permits to do business in Kenya is a very long and costly procedure that needs to be considered. Otherwise, I want to say that in Kenya, there is a substantial drive towards low-cost innovation, and this is supported by institutions like Kenya, a very good partner of East Africa. I want to say a big thank you to what you are doing, and I believe that maybe if you get further funding, more can be achieved. Kenya has really supported East Africa from the beginning up to where we are. Thank you, Anita.
Thank you very much, Richard, for those reflections. Thank you also for highlighting the challenges that low-cost innovators face. I'll now move on to our next panelist. As we all know, the Commonwealth is a family of 56 nations from 5 different regions. One of them is the Caribbean. And from all the way from Belize, it's about 11 p.m. right now. We have 2019 Commonwealth Secretary General's Innovation Award winner from Belize, Mr. Christopher Nesbitt. Mr. Christopher Nesbitt is the director and founder of the Maya Mountain Research Farm, and he established this farm over 34 years ago. It's an ongoing permaculture project in southern Belize in Central America, and the farm is focused on the intersection of agriculture and ecology with an emphasis on food security, degraded land repair, agroforestry systems, and staple tree crops. Christopher also works with renewable energy for rural schools, composting toilets, and community and farm level photographic water and pumping. He also runs the farm with his wife, Selini Nesbitt, who I met a month ago when I was in Belize. Christopher, welcome, good evening, and good morning from Nairobi. Please give us your thoughts on the low-cost innovation guide that the Secretariat has just published.
Good morning, Anita. Good morning, everybody else. Good morning, especially Richard. You probably didn't know this, but I was one of the judges for the Innovation Awards in 2021, and I read your application with great interest, and I was very happy to see that you are one of the winners. I was very impressed with that. So I am deeply honored to be on the rostrum with you and speaking to everybody else. Thank you, Anita. Thank you, everybody else. So one of the things that we talk about is what are the leverage points to make innovations become more acceptable? Frequently, innovators will find that what they're talking about is considered fringe or esoteric or not mainstream, and it's hard to get people to adapt it. For example, in agroforestry, we talk with a lot of farmers about agroforestry, and frequently farmers have no interest in agroforestry because what they're doing has been working. We have found several communities where their soils have collapsed because of overuse of pesticides and synthetic fertilizers, and all of a sudden these farmers are very interested. So we're finding leverage points that are tied to catastrophes or sort of these leverage points that are created when the system doesn't function the way it used to. The other thing that we want to talk, that we stress for the work that we do, is to create ownership of these innovations that we share with people. How do we get the people invested into it so that they consider it something that they do, not something that was introduced to them by people from outside of the community? We've seen that in many incidents where, for example, poorly designed toilets were introduced to the communities, and it gave toilets, composting toilets in particular, a bad name. We've seen that with large funded projects that came and gave flushing toilets to schools, then now burden those schools with the problem of accessing water. There wasn't enough stakeholder involvement in the design of these projects. The appropriate innovations that were present or people in the community were aware of were not considered because many of these projects were conceived of outside of the target communities that they're working in. In the case of things, particularly, there's two industries that are the most recalcitrant to change. They are agriculture and forestry. It's very hard to get significant change in these because people either say, oh, well, that's what my grandfather did, and that ends it. And now as traditional and indigenous knowledge across the globe is utterly displaced, in favor of input requiring synthetic fertilizer and herbicide and pesticides, insecticide-based agriculture. Getting farmers to be interested in what their grandfather used to do is another set of challenges that we have. We have here in Belize, my wife and I, we work in several different communities. Two of the communities we work in are Mopan Maya and Quechua Maya communities. And they have very specific traditional agriculture that they've practiced for millennia. When I managed the Toledo cacao growers back in the 1990s, we found that farmers would say, well, people who use these chemicals are either lazy or, or victims of a mentality. And there were very few farmers using herbicides in the 1990s. Now we had a project, we were consultants towards the EU, and we were working in some of these communities, and the dominant paradigm has changed. Everybody is using these chemicals, and there have been some unintended consequences. While there were initial increases in yields, later on we found that several of the farmers and communities have actually had collapsed soils, where soils are incapable of producing maize. Forestry is also a difficult industry to work with, to change, or to offer examples to improve on, because what they've done has worked for a very long time. It's only that we're coming up against time constraints of changing weather patterns tied to climate change. We're coming up with carrying capacity of landscapes, where some of these innovations may be worth looking at. Farmers in particular are risk adverse. They don't want to try something that they haven't tried before if what they're doing works. So again, what are these leverage points? Catastrophes and failures are of the status quo are what makes innovations possible. Obviating other systems by creating better systems is a way to get community buy-in. So we'll find that farmers that have no interest in agroforestry or have no interest in biogas, for example, because we also work with biogas, are also now interested in it because they have difficulties obtaining fuel, because fuel wood is further and further away from the village, etc. And I think the most important thing that for getting these innovations spread across the community and getting community buy-in is to create a sense of ownership of these innovations and these trainings. So my wife and I, we build photovoltaic systems for schools. We have built several village-level photovoltaic water pumping systems. And the systems that did very well were the systems where the farmers were able, and the community members were able to take ownership of it, where they felt it belonged to them, and they were trained to manage it. And the systems that didn't do well were the ones where the community didn't really have an interest in managing it, but felt that the external guidance in the form of us or other people would help to manage it for them. So I think going forward for fostering innovation, and big kudos to Kenya for creating this possibility for innovations to be spread across the country, is to find a way to, when you're working with the communities, to design these systems and these innovations based on feedback from the community that you intend to work with. Because we frequently see projects that are conceived of far away from communities where they're implemented in with very little input. And of course, when that happens, there's not much follow through. So I think that's about what I have to say on the topic. If there's questions or anything, I'll be sitting here when you need me.
Thank you very much, Christopher. We'll get back to you with any questions. Thank you very much for highlighting stakeholder investment and its importance in innovation, but also the creation of ownership of projects in target communities and how that is so important. We'll get back to you on that, but I'll just need to introduce our next panelist, who is Professor Chuks Daniels. Professor Chuks Daniels is the director of the Transformative Innovation Africa Hub, and he is a research fellow in Science, Technology and Innovation Policy at the Science Policy Research Institute at the University of Sussex, UK. He leads the Transformative Innovation Policy Consortium, Research and Engagements in Africa. He's also the director of the Transformative Innovation Africa Hub and Senior Fellow at the Future Africa University of Pretoria, South Africa. Professor Chuks' research interests and topics include STI, transformation, digital sustainability, the SDGs, and capabilities. He has widely published on these topics, and he has delivered innovation policy research and projects for several governments in Africa and world-class organizations, including the African Union, the United Nations, European Commission, and the World Bank. He also holds a PhD in science and technology policy and studies from the University of Sussex in the UK. Good morning and welcome, Professor.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. Thank you, Anita, for the introduction, and thank you also for the invitation. We've been hearing from colleagues about the knowledge gap, about the research, and issues of challenges. The idea here is that we can definitely do. Governments and all of us can definitely do a lot more with less. So I'm just going to explain, just discuss some of the work we've been doing within the continent of Africa. We've been working with Ghana, Kenya. Some of the colleagues in the meeting might be aware of our work in Kenya. We've also been working with Senegal and South Africa and other countries. So let me just unpack a little bit what we've been doing within the next couple of minutes. So the challenges, as we've heard, are many, from knowledge gap, to resource challenges, to issues of resources, but also business support and policy challenges. So what have we been doing on these issues? So one of the approach we've been using to try to tackle these challenges is to do what we refer to as transformative innovation policy work. The idea has been, how can you use innovation for transformation? And using innovation for transformation, one way to understand this is to focus on the SDGs. One of the speakers just mentions, I think Awa just mentioned how it is important not just to focus on economic goal, but also to pay attention to environmental issues of social concerns, but also issues of the environment. So we don't just produce our goods and services and at the same time destroy the environment. And so this calls into the importance of the social economy. So the transformative innovation policy work we do focuses on 3 dimensions at the minimum. One, promoting economic growth, which is very important, but also addressing social and environmental challenges at the same time. This has not been the practice in mainstream innovation, as we've heard. Many innovation has attempted to just focus on economic growth without paying sufficient attention to the environment, but also social. Yeah, we know how inequality is destroying the world as we speak. So some of the tools we've been using to do this is the research and the policy work we've been doing, which involves researchers, policymakers, but also grassroots innovation actors, which we refer to them as some of them are what we call niches, which is a safe and protected practices, alternative practices that are going in the right direction. And so we do this by experimentation, which is one of the points here. Experimentation with demonstrators. So how do we do that? We work with innovation actors, we work with governments, we work with policy actors who are keen and working on practices that are in the right direction for change, in the right direction for progress. So how do you identify practices that are already happening? How do you identify innovation that is already going in the right direction? Innovation that is doing the 3 things I've just mentioned. Innovation that is focusing on economic growth, but also at the same time addressing social and environmental challenges. So we identify this innovation, or we identify innovators working in this area. We combine policymakers and a whole range of partners, obviously from the business sector, but also from partnerships that are inclined to this approach. And then we bring them together in a way that we try to look at alternative approaches to the role of science and technology, alternative approaches to the role of to governance issues. So, and then we do this in what we refer to as demonstration. So in Ghana, we worked on issue of e-waste, where we're able to map the actors looking at this area. In Kenya, where where this event is based. We work with actors as well there, visiting Samburu area, visiting grassroots actors, visiting very rural communities where we're able to bring in the idea of nomadic education. So we used nomadic education, working with the nomads, to be able to experiment and demonstrate an alternative way of inclusive education. So this is innovation, and this is radical, because we know what the nomads, what the pastoralists in the country of Kenya contribute to the food chain, but also contribute to the peace, security, and their role in peace and security and justice. And so this approach really means you're able to demonstrate that different ways, different pathways to progress is possible. And so this is key this is key, colleagues, in able to develop new indicators, new learning approaches, but also new ways to evaluate that the system is transforming. We like to use the word transformative innovation but also for others who are not very versed in this, how do we know that our system is actually transforming, as we heard, I'm looking at Anita. How do we know that our system is actually transforming to a more knowledge-based environment, to a more knowledge-based system that actually supports grassroots actors? How do we address the resource challenge? How do we address the policy challenge? So these are the approaches we use, so to be able to do that. So we actually work with actors, both on the ground, grassroots actors, but also government actors in a transdisciplinary research environment. I can share more work we've done, again, similar work we've done in South Africa, but also in Senegal, looking at this approach in which you can bring in demonstrators from rural areas and be able to combine them into a way that generates new knowledge. So what are the key ingredients? As I begin to round up my intervention, we can add more during the question. What are the key ingredients? The key ingredients here is on the basis of the notion that governments can do more with less. However, for this to happen, the approach we use is to explore niches, which again, as I described earlier, is alternative practices that are going in the right direction, alternative practices that are focusing on inclusiveness, that are focusing on sustainability, using innovation. Again, in this way, we look at innovation for transformation. And so what we do is, by exploring these niches of good practices, promoting them, shielding them, and some way circulating them, and then being able to multiply these practices, because by doing this, we're able to transform the ecosystem. For this to happen, we need experimentation. Again, as I'm saying, there's a new approach to learning, which we also develop, and then capacity building, which have been discussed as well. Capacity takes a different dimension, and then 3 more components as well, which is then involved in this, is the role of indicators. How do we measure that this is working? So we do what we call formative evaluation in the process. And then, just lastly, we also develop what we call new governance practices. So if the system is going to be transforming towards inclusiveness, towards sustainability, how do you govern this kind of system so that we can get the outcomes that we expect? So Anita, is that, I'll stop there for now, and then we can come back into this in the questions, just to expand more. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Chuks, for that very elaborative and thought-provoking way of looking at low-cost innovation through transformative innovation. I would now like to invite Mr. Joshua Setipa, Senior Director, Strategy Portfolio Partnerships Division at the Commonwealth Secretariat. Mr. Joshua Setipa is also the first Managing Director elected by the UN Secretary General for the UN Technology Bank for least developed countries, and also the former Minister of Trade for Lesotho. I would just like you, Joshua, to kindly give reflections on what our discussants have given, and also highlight the importance of our low-cost guide for our audience here today. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Anita. And in view of the time that we have left, allow me to just maybe highlight 1 or 2 key takeaways from this guide, which, in my view, are very important. The first is that innovation takes place at every level, at the village level, at the community level. There are innovations that are taking place. Now, we have to create a policy framework, a policy environment that recognizes that. Because unless the policy framework recognizes that, we will not be able to sustain, we will not be able to encourage innovators to actually do what they do best. This then also speaks to the need for policymakers, for governments to create a legal framework that protects innovators. If innovators are not able to get assurance that they can actually be able to live off their innovations, not only achieve sustainability in the way we farm, in the way we conduct our day-to-day activities, but actually make a living out of it, then you will not be able to unlock the full potential of innovation that we know exists. Another key takeaway is the centrality of the role of government. Government have the responsibility to create that environment that creates an ecosystem that allows innovation to thrive. And recognizing that innovation does not only take place in technology labs, but takes place at all levels is very important. It means that government, from its public procurement practices and policies, has to reflect that understanding. There has to be a way that governments, through preferential procurement practices, for example, allows innovators to be able to support and benefit from that. Another key issue is also the ability for governments to facilitate the identification of technologies, the adaptation of those technologies, and the scaling up of those technologies. So tech transfer is very important. And being able to identify what technologies are required, adapting them to local conditions and scaling them up is a very important part of supporting frugal innovation. So with these few remarks, Anita, allow me to stop here. But once again, thank you very much.
Let's one more time appreciate Anita and Tim for putting this together. So the policy guideline and document that the Commonwealth has led a team to put together is available, and Anita is getting a few copies around, but also as we will leave, we'll have an opportunity to get copies. And the team is available for more engagement. They're in town for the next 2 days, 3 days, and we've built a long-term relationship that will walk us all the way to November and beyond. And I think this is the whole essence of trying to get as much of this message out there. Now we're transitioning to the next phase, and we are now honored to have our PS Engineer Tum, who is representing the Cabinet Secretary. Karibu PS, this is your home. I had an opportunity to have a chat with the PS yesterday and elaborate. He's not my line PS, so I had to do a little bit of briefing so that then everything is well aligned. And I was amazed how quickly he grasped in terms of where we are headed and what we should be doing, and how boldly we should think, and also why we have to work as partners from different contexts to pull this national great agenda forward. To get off to the next stage, I'd like to play a small clip so that then you all understand where we've come from over the last 2 years, putting together the Innovation Week that has rallied stakeholders together, and we've launched a number of programs as a result of that. George, are you there?
We are seeing a lot of value where they are not only giving us a platform, but they have also been doing a lot of hand-holding for us.
As we speak today, we have 5 partners who have shown interest in this program. We have gotten several mentors, about 10 mentors who want to be part of this system.
Participating in the Kenya Innovation Week has been of great value to us as a team, because we've actually had to reach to contacts and connections within that we see in the near future making deals and partnership with. and also prospective clients that have had us even scale up and try new ventures that we had not imagined in the first place.
To me, the organization end-to-end, whatever the whole setup, it looks like magical, but I know guys have really worked hard to make this happen. And even thanks to you guys even filming this is amazing.
The Kenya Innovation Week has helped us get a platform where we can talk directly to potential users and get a platform to talk to business, to potential business partners and investors.
We've gotten new customers, which is very good for us. They've bought our products and they want to follow us to our shop on Moy Avenue, Sonalax house, to even restock more.
You are given a chance to explain what you do, given a space. You are able even to have investors, foreign investors, and also clients as well.
I'm so grateful for the opportunity. I have networked with other startups and I've even got some potential investors to come and invest in my business.
Kenya Innovation Week has been highly beneficial, particularly because I've met interesting people who are industrious, who are hardworking, who are willing to have a lot of these products brought into the Kenyan market, but moreover, people who are willing to create partnerships.
The Innovation Week has, it has also helped me gain connections in people in fields, because this takes a lot of IT, like computer science information. So I have found some developers who I can work with and, complete the project and take it to the next level.
We have benefited immensely from the week, the Innovation Week. Mainly through networking. We have met lots of different partners that we hope to engage with in the near future.
Compared to last year, this year it's magic. It's different. It's great. The setup. We look like we are now set. We are a developed country.
The friendliness of the customers that came through, their engagement with our stand, their interest in their product, and the way that they're looking forward for their product to be in Kenya. And the best thing is about they wanted to support Kenyan products that are produced in Kenya and products that are actually produced in Africa, which was very encouraging for us as a company.
Getting to be a part of the Kenyan ecosystem of innovation has sort of broadened one's perspective regarding how one can tap into the Kenyan market, but also making networks within the ecosystem as well, so that when one does decide to come into the market, one already has information around how to penetrate the market.
We managed to able to connect with various organizations, universities, and we are forging partnership. Definitely with the partners that I've met here during the Kenya Innovation Week. Next year in 2023, we will be looking at collaborating and also implementing various solutions that I've just explained.
What stood out for me the most is just the variety of stakeholders available.
We have gotten to network with investors. I've also gotten to broaden my network with my other entrepreneurs who are present here, and also I've gotten an opportunity to raise awareness on what Unveiling Nyumbani is and what we do.
We have received a lot of benefit from Kenya Innovation Week. This is the first time we have engaged, and we are so happy that within the first day we were able to meet the president actually, and he was so impressed with what we are doing.
The support we are looking for is from the government, more so to help us in marketing our system and for more exposure, and also to get the resources we need.
succeed, we have to address a number of key issues. Access to finance. Unless there is finance available, and by access to finance, the average startup here needs $30,000. It doesn't need $500,000. So if we can make it possible for them to be able to access that money by coming up with ways to mitigate the risk, setting up credit guarantee schemes, for example, that allows them to access this finance, because when they show up at the bank and they ask for balance sheets and all that, they don't have them. So you're leaking them out of the system unless you're able to do that. So that is where government comes in. And that is, I think, the responsibility that we would like to see not only the government of Kenya, but also governments across the Commonwealth play. We need to create an environment that protects that innovation. We need to create an environment that recognizes that talent and ensures that it is that inventors and innovators are able to live off it. Everybody in Nairobi wears these beautiful bracelets that have the Kenyan flag. I can guarantee you that they are made in Shanghai, some of them. And that means, no, yes, they're made here, but don't be surprised if you find them on the shop in Washington, D.C., and they're made in Shanghai. So as long as we continue to allow creators to be ripped off, we cannot talk about a sustainable innovation model. And this is where investing in and building understanding around intellectual property is very important. The creative arts, industrial design and all that, they are a very important part of what we're trying to achieve collectively. But we need to find a way to protect that. Otherwise, we miss an opportunity. It is also important that the networks that we're seeking to build across the Commonwealth allow interaction at all levels. It's not just at the level of policymakers and heads of state and all that, but at the grassroots level. And this is why the Commonwealth, through the Innovation Awards, for example, we are building and supporting those networks because we believe that being able to exchange those experiences allows innovators to compare notes, but also allows sustainable partnerships that create market opportunities, that create an opportunity for these companies to scale up and be able to be commercially successful. Another key issue that we believe is very critical for a successful innovation model is being able to build the institutional capacity to identify, to adapt, and to deploy technologies. There are technologies available globally that are not under IP protection, that are available on voluntary basis. But being able to identify what you need for your conditions and adapting it to those conditions and then scaling it up is important. Today, thousands of people still die from drinking dirty water. Communities still get sick from drinking dirty water. But you can walk into Target in the US and buy a water purification kit for less than $5. So the challenge is not that technology is not available. The challenge is how do we adapt that technology to address these challenges that communities still face. Why is it that in 2023 people are still dying from drinking dirty water when that technology is just available off the shelf? So we need to simplify and demystify innovation and realize that most of the things that we need are already there. They're already there even in the communities we live in. But because there are no networks, we don't know. And this is why the power of networks is so important, that we need to be able to connect partners and make sure that they communicate. There was a case a few years ago of a country here in East Africa where one part of the country was experiencing severe drought, food shortage. One part of the country was experiencing bumper harvests. But because there was no market information, suppliers and businesses were not being connected. So you are busy looking for where to buy tomatoes and cabbage and everything. One farmer is struggling with what to do with an oversupply of those things. So technology provides that ability to connect that. And one last point that I would like to make, I spent the last 2 days talking, and I'm very grateful to Tony and his colleagues for making that possible, engaging with Kenyan startups, particularly in the agricultural sector and the health sector. The one thing that struck me with all of them that they had in common was that I didn't get a sense that they appreciated the value of data, the data they're collecting, the data that their innovations are accumulating, and how actually that is much more valuable than even the solutions that they are playing. If we do not, as government, support and build a framework that allows for data to be seen as the valuable commodity that it is today, we are missing an opportunity. Every second discussion today is about artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence without data it's not going to be able to deliver the solutions that it hopes so. It will not deliver the customized solutions that we need for solutions that we're dealing with today. It will deliver generic solutions. Just go to ChatGPT and try and type in something about Kenya. It'll jumble something that doesn't really reflect the reality. It's not because the system doesn't work, it's because the system does not have the data. So we need to be able to make sure that we have systems, we have data policy frameworks in place that allow us to appreciate the value of the data that we have. Because with data, we're able to achieve quite a lot and be able to customize solutions to reflect the realities on the ground. And that, I think, is where government comes in, creating that framework that allows us and other innovators to be able to benefit from that data. Pharmaceutical companies are making millions of dollars out of this continent because the data is free. They are building marketing strategies on the back of the work that the startups are collecting. Imagine if you have on your database 120,000 farmers in Kenya. You know everything from the pesticides they want to use. You know everything about the medicines they need for their livestock. You know everything about the consumption patterns. Can you imagine how much money that means to a pharmaceutical company that's trying to sell into this market? And they're getting it for free. So we need to find a way to make sure that at the end of the day that the ecosystem that we create not only allows for innovation to thrive, but it also protects it. And the Commonwealth, with you as our partner, we will be able to provide that support. We'll be able to work with the government to provide policy reform and policy support that allows us to put those in place. We already work across a number of key areas, whether it's judicial reform, whether it's supporting debt management capacity across the Commonwealth. So this is not something that is going to be very difficult for us to do, but we are very excited that the Commonwealth is a partner in this, and we are going to make sure that the Kenya Innovation Week becomes a central feature globally. When we talk about the calendar for innovation across the board, we will make sure that the Kenya Innovation Week is part of that. When people talk about going to Slash in Finland, they first start in Kenya, because that is where I think the potential is. So allow me, Tony, to end here and say how excited we are to be partners with you. And we're very happy. We're looking forward to making sure that when we're back here in November, this is going to be very successful. It's a very busy year for Kenya. There's and for the rest of all of us, we've got the Conference of Parties coming up in the UAE. I know Kenya is hosting a big conference on that agenda, but we believe that Kenya has the potential to drive innovation in the Commonwealth. It has potential to be the hub for innovation, and we've already seen what can be done, and we believe that this is just the beginning. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Joshua. I'd like to invite you to say after me, KIW is now global. I say it again, KIW is now global. So it is the third year that we're going to run, and we're not there yet, but when we deliver it, you don't want to miss. And it's not just a show, it is substance. I think listening to Joshua, I feel the substance that I always look forward to. Now, you spoke about the issues of intellectual property protection and copyrights and industrial designs and so on and so forth. Earlier this year, I had an opportunity to visit WIPO because we're building a community of partnerships that then strengthen that national innovation systems. For those who may not know about WIPO, they coordinate all the global issues of intellectual property. And I met the Director General, who was very excited at the effort of the Kenya National Innovation Agency and therefore the Innovation Week. And he said, I really would like to come. Ahead of that, he recorded a clip and sent it yesterday. Do you want to listen? Yes. Go for it.
Jumbo. Innovation, entrepreneurship, technology, creativity. These are among the pillars that are shaping Kenya's future growth and development. Intellectual property supports each of these areas, and at WIPO, we work to bring the power of IP to all. We are building a more inclusive IP ecosystem, one closer and more connected to grassroots communities around the world. Kenya has a vibrant innovation ecosystem with notable examples like M-Pesa, M-Kopa, M-Farm, and Ushahidi, to just name a few. Kenya Innovation Week is a fantastic opportunity to focus on how IP can help deliver sustainable economic and social growth for Kenya's hustlers and entrepreneurs. This is also an exciting time for IP and innovation in Africa. Venture capital investments are higher than they've ever been before. Interest and demand for African music, cinema, and art is booming. Startups are on the rise. The African Continental Free Trade Area is up and running, and a youth dividend is moving into view. And of course, there are challenges to overcome, but this is a time to be bold in our ambition and to work in partnership to strengthen innovation ecosystems across the whole region. I look forward to an exciting event in November and to sharing WIPO's work in support of innovators and creators in Kenya, Africa, and around the world. Asante Sana.
Would you want to miss Innovation Week in November? If he is convinced, then you must be. And anyway, thanks very much. It's a public holiday. We should be having a good time out there. But I told my friends, hey, this is the best place to be. Just have food and meet friends and so on and so forth. You will never regret. Let's not be in a hurry. I'm now going to invite our Cabinet Secretary, Honorable Ababu Namwamba, oversees sports, youth affairs, and the arts. And today, partly because he couldn't make it, we have the honor of hosting Engineer Tum, who is a PS in our ministry, to make remarks on behalf of the CS. And use that opportunity to also invite our representative of the chief guest, Honorable Musalia Mudavadi. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much. I think I am one of those that is getting excited by minute. And you may be asking why. It's only a month that I've been in this ministry as a PS. And the first thing I came into when I came into this ministry is to realize that I had to change my wardrobe in order to be able to behave like the rest of them that I found there. And then as I was grappling with that aspect of changing my wardrobe, the Innovation Week comes in. And I said, what a space to be in at this particular moment. You may be asking where I came from before I was made the PS spot. I was in health all my life. And I was telling someone there that probably His Excellency the President, realizing that I wasn't benefiting from health because of my size and weight, he decided to push me to where I am, and I'm very, very happy. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for being here today. And I'm just wearing two caps. One, there is a PS that is in charge of the youth and art that was supposed to be standing here before you today to read the speech of the minister. The holiday that we are experiencing in Kenya is basically for him and the rest of them, and therefore he wasn't able to be with us. And then secondly, the CS, who would have been and would have liked to be with you here, is engaged in some other duties elsewhere outside the country. So they asked me to come and probably grace this occasion. Very, very important. So I will just do nothing but read his remarks. These are the remarks by the Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Youth Affairs, the Arts and Sports, Honorable Ababu Namwamba, during the unveiling of the Kenya Innovation Week, i.e. Commonwealth Edition Roadmap on 28th of June, 2023. So, Prime Cabinet Secretary, represented by Jason Busiega, ambassadors and high commissioners from various Commonwealth countries present here, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, and all protocols observed, good morning. I stand here before you today to share with you some remarkable initiatives and programs that we are implementing to foster innovation and unleash the potential of our talented youth and innovators in Kenya. As government, with the leadership of our esteemed head of state, His Excellency the President of the Republic of Kenya, Dr. William Ruto, we are very keen and steadfast to support the promotion of innovation in the various dimensions. As a ministry, we have consolidated our agenda of supporting creativity, entrepreneurship, arts, innovation under the umbrella of Talenta Hela. This program is meant to promote and commercialize youth creativity and talent. We recognize that the talent will take different forms, and innovation is one of them. The Kenya National Innovation Agency will be implementing the highly anticipated Presidential Innovation Award Youth Edition. This program is an integral module of the Talenta Hela initiative, which aims to monetize talents and empower our young people to turn their ideas into successful enterprises. Through the Innovation Challenge, we will provide a platform for young Kenyans to showcase their innovative ideas and research outputs. This challenge will not only recognize outstanding achievements, but also provide funding and mentorship opportunities to transform these ideas into reality. The finalists of the Presidential Innovation Award will have the privilege to pitch their ideas at the prestigious Commonwealth Startup Festival that will be part of the Kenya Innovation Week later this year. In addition, His Excellency the President will award them during the Jamhuri Day celebrations on the 12th December 2023. Yeah, I think we give him an applause. This momentous event will serve as a statement to the unwavering support our government provides to the youth in their pursuit of innovation and excellence. In our continuous efforts to create an enabling environment for innovation, the ministry is collaborating with other ministries to deliver the groundbreaking legislation called the Startup Bill. This bill encompasses a comprehensive setup of measures aimed at supporting startups in Kenya. It seeks to create incentives for founders, startups, incubators, and investors. By eliminating unnecessary bureaucratic hurdles, the Startup Bill will also empower our young entrepreneurs to bring their innovative ideas to fruition and scale their businesses. It is a testament to our commitment to nurturing a vibrant entrepreneur ecosystem that drives economic growth and creates employment opportunities. Recognizing the importance of capital infusion in nurturing startups, we are adopting a cross-ministerial approach to establish the Startup Fund. This fund will provide much-needed financial resources to early-stage ventures, allowing them to overcome the initial hurdles and transform their businesses into sustainable businesses. By investing in our youth and their entrepreneurial endeavors, we are not only fostering economic growth, but also cultivating a culture of risk-taking and creativity. The Startup Fund will act as a catalyst, enabling young innovators to access the capital they need to drive their ventures forward, resulting in a thriving startup ecosystem that propels our nation towards prosperity. Honorable Prime Cabinet Secretary, during the last Kenya Innovation Week, which was graced by the head of state, I announced that my ministry will bid to host the Commonwealth edition of the Innovation Week, and I am more than happy that the Commonwealth Secretariat considered our bid. Today, we are here to launch the roadmap for the Kenya Innovation Week Commonwealth edition, and we are glad that a team from the Commonwealth has traveled to be here with us today. This inclusive initiative will serve as a platform for knowledge sharing, collaboration, and celebration of innovation across borders. By leveraging the diverse expertise and experience of Commonwealth member states, we can collectively address global challenges, seize opportunities for mutual growth, and forge lasting partnerships. Together, we can create an interconnected ecosystem that fosters innovation, transforms industries, and improves the lives of our citizens. We shall also leverage the Kenya Innovation Week Commonwealth edition to announce the establishment of the National Innovation Center that will serve as a dynamic hub for collaboration, research, development, providing cutting-edge facilities, mentorship programs, and networking opportunities for innovators across various sectors. The National Innovation Centers will provide knowledge exchange facilities, partnerships between academia and industry, and foster the commercialization of groundbreaking technologies. By centralizing and coordinating our innovation efforts, we can unleash the full potential of our talented youth and position Kenya as a global leader in innovation and technological events. And I think when we watched our clip, those are some of the we were showcasing what we've been able to do as a country. In this spirit of collaboration and global engagement, I'm honored to extend an invitation to all nations represented here today and our partners to co-create the Kenya Innovation Week, Commonwealth Edition. In conclusion, I would like to express my deepest appreciation once again to His Excellency, the President, for the support of innovation in Kenya and to endorse the opportunity to host the Commonwealth edition of the Innovation Week. Together, let us embrace the power of innovation, collaboration, and excellence, and together we shall achieve greatness. Thank you, and may God bless you. And before I invite my colleague, the representative to the Prime Cabinet Secretary, let us also inject a few thoughts that I had yesterday when I was being walked through what was going to happen today, this morning. And when I tried to look at the explanation I was being given on the issues of innovation, and I looked at what is happening elsewhere, and also listening to what our friend from, Joshua Setipa spoke about, I realized that Kenya has moved quite a distance in trying to put together the enterprises within a framework, a legal framework, that then will assure them that they will be supported by government. And why am I saying we've moved quite a distance? It's because when you look at also what is happening in the Hustler Fund, and you try to map it against what we are trying to do in this innovation space, and the creation of the job centers that has been done by one of our ministries in the public service, you realize that that whole ecosystem is something that has been thought through as government. And therefore, for us in government to see the kind of support that we are having from other countries within the Commonwealth fraternity, we feel proud. We feel proud because then we realize that we are being recognized for what we are doing as a country. And number two is that at least we can hold each other as Commonwealth countries to be able to leverage on technologies that have happened elsewhere, so that at least we borrow from, the best practices that are happening within ourselves. And therefore, then I look forward to a week that will not only look at the space of innovation from what we are going to get out of that, but we are also going to have a week that will be able to help us reflect on the achievements that we've been able to get across board in individual countries. Statistics that we are given by Joshua speak for themselves. We've tried as a country. Right now, you can sit here and send your money to wherever you want through the M-Pesa. So our fintech technology has taken root. But what is that else that we must do as a country? You spoke about agriculture. We used the other day when this government came into this space of leadership, we realized that there was a problem with that aspect of linking the farmers to agricultural inputs. And again, we leveraged on that technology to ensure that farmers got the right fertilizer for their crops. Is that something that we can borrow from even as we try to have our youth get into that innovation space? I think the answer is yes. So what is that we will be showcasing then in that Innovation Week? Those are some of the things that probably might be on the menu as you come to sample what we've done as a country. The only thing I would like to request is that that space of communication and exchange of information should be improved, particularly from the aspect of the Secretariat. We must ensure that any small innovation that is happening elsewhere is shared across board, so that for those of us who might not have had that technology to be able to, innovate, why don't we borrow from what is happening elsewhere? And therefore, then, as a country, we want to assure you, and I think that will come from the Prime Cabinet Secretary, that we will give you that kind of support that you require. That even if it means the government organizing, or to showcase the kind of support that we've given to the innovators themselves, the incubators, the incubation centers, and the Ajira programs that we are undertaking, let us do so that we can, enhance on the same or share our experiences. I wouldn't want to take more time because in the interest of time, allow me at this particular moment to now welcome the Prime Cabinet Secretary, represented by Ambassador Busiega, to give his remarks. Karibu.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Our host, CEO, Kenya, Dr. Tom Omwansa. First, when I walked in, you said you needed help, but I must say you and your team have done marvelously well to put this in place. It couldn't have been done better. The representative of the Secretary General, Joshua Sitipan and Anita, great work. Country Director, British Council, Tom Potter, High Commissioners, PS Energy Toom, thank you so much. Other government colleagues, Vice Chancellors who do a great job putting research together, colleagues in the innovation sector, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good morning again. My name is Joseph Busiega. I am standing in for the Prime Cabinet Secretary who would really have loved to be here. And I emphasize that because innovation is very key to this government's bottom-up economic agenda. And he would have really loved to be here, but due to the constraints of duty, he's out of station. And so I will read the speech on his behalf. But before that, I'll just say a quick introduction of myself. I have been in government this is now my 40th year. I've worked for 40 years, straight after university, and been in the Foreign Service, various stations, Geneva, and immediately after this, last year, I came back from Korea South. So innovation is really a big thing in my vocabulary. Having said that, let me then move and speak, read the speech of His Excellency, the Prime Cabinet Secretary. Ladies and gentlemen, we gather here to mark a significant milestone in our common journey of prosperity through innovation. Through this gathering, we create opportunity to work together as a family of Commonwealth countries to energize the innovation agenda. I carry the goodwill and good wishes of our head of state, His Excellency Dr. William Samoei Ruto, and his message regarding Kenya's interest and commitment to host the Commonwealth edition of the Innovation Week later this year. May I congratulate the Ministry of Youth Affairs, Sports and the Arts through the Kenya National Innovation Agency, Kenya, for continuing to champion the innovation agenda. Tapping into the innovativeness of our society will certainly create solutions that will positively impact on our people. I am therefore happy to present the roadmap for Kenya Innovation Week 2023, a Commonwealth edition. This roadmap, ladies and gentlemen, outlines our goals, the diverse summits that will take place, and the expected outcomes of the year's event. We have carefully curated a series of thematic summits and side events. This will bring together experts, innovators, entrepreneurs, policymakers who will foster collaboration, exchange ideas, and explore innovative solutions to our pressing challenges. Hopefully, ladies and gentlemen, this roadmap will help steer us forward towards a future where innovation will be the driving force behind our progress. And I would like to re-emphasize that this issue of innovation is very key in our economic agenda. As we embark on this exciting journey, we are acutely aware of the importance of partnerships and collaborations. Today, therefore, we announce the official call for partners and exhibitors for the Kenya Innovation Week Commonwealth edition that will be held from 27th November to 1st December. And I'd like to warmly welcome all of you. Under the theme, Innovating to Unlock Our Commonwealth, we will focus on leveraging innovation to advance wealth creation for the well-being of our societies. We project that the Commonwealth edition of the Innovation Week will attract over 15,000 delegates converging in Nairobi later this year to advance our collective agenda of innovation. Ladies and gentlemen, the aim of Kenya Innovation Week is to unlock new opportunities for our youth, entrepreneurs, and innovators. We aim to achieve this by providing investment opportunities through opening new markets and initiating dialogue to create an enabling environment for innovation to thrive. Furthermore, distinguished guests, this event will serve as a unique platform to share knowledge, experiences, and best practices for building innovative ecosystems that generate shared value across the Commonwealth. We do invite other governments, organizations, institutions, and individuals to share in our passion for innovation. We call upon you to become active contributors to this remarkable event. Together, we should create an ecosystem that nurtures and propels innovation, thus unlocking the true potential of our nation. Ladies and gentlemen, we already have launched the Kenya Network of Entrepreneurial Institutions, leaders known as NIEL, in collaboration with the esteemed support of the British Council. This is a platform for leaders from our universities, colleagues, and technical and vocational educational and training centers to collaborate in the development of a vibrant national entrepreneurial network. I believe that this initiative will play a pivotal role in commercializing research outputs to solve societal challenges, create jobs, and put pesa mfukoni. And nothing can be best exemplified than the photo session that we saw our great distinguished scholars, the Vice Chancellors of Nairobi University, Egerton, and Professor Laba Nairo and company. This is the best example of a country's willingness and readiness and ability to take off. Nothing best champions research than the universities. And I must say, as a government, there is definitely need to step up research, funding of research, because research does basically two functions. It adds to new knowledge and informs policy. So anything that comes, we must embrace research. Professor Kibwaga of Egerton talked of the beans, the quick harvesting beans, and this still dovetails into the government's policy of helping feed the nation. So thank you so much, professors, and everybody else on innovation. The policy guide for innovation in governments in developing countries, led by the Commonwealth Secretariat, has also been unveiled. This is demonstrated of our desire to collaborate with stakeholders and partners to strengthen the wider ecosystem of innovation for the prosperity of our people. Through the policy guide, we desire to see our markets grow and create more opportunities. Ladies and gentlemen, as government, we are determined to build our economy. We are taking bold strides towards innovation. For that purpose, earlier in the month, the Kenya National Innovation Agency showcased the Presidential Innovation Award to His Excellency the President, and we were told about this. We intend to support this award as a demonstration of government's commitment to leverage and support innovation in implementing the bottom-up economic transformational agenda, commonly known as BETTER. Over the years, ladies and gentlemen, Kenya Innovation Week has brought together over 7,000 delegates from across the globe, representing more than 70 countries. This unprecedented achievement demonstrates our commitment to creating synergies in the transformative power of innovation as a catalyst for economic growth. Allow me, ladies and gentlemen, now to highlight some of the planned forums and side events that will take place during the Kenya Innovation Week 2023 Commonwealth edition. First, Youth and Entrepreneurship Summit, which will focus on issues of youth and entrepreneurship within the entire Commonwealth. Two, Climate Action Summit will give attention to our collective concern of the climate change. Three, Skills and Talent Summit will advance the need to build skills for innovation within society, from national leadership all the way to elementary school. Four, Commercialization Summit will focus on policies and practices for creating commercial value from the research outputs in our universities and research centers and other related organizations. Five, Commonwealth Angel Investment Masterclass, which will focus on building skills and networks for investment in startups within the Commonwealth family. Six, Digital Transformation and Public Sector Innovation Summit. This will lay emphasis on prioritizing digital transformation, and we will share our experiences and learn from the Commonwealth family on the pathways to paperless government and ecosystems. And here, may I add that His Excellency, the President, has instructed whole of government to embrace digitization. And this is one area that His Excellency is very big in, and the reason is that it is part of innovation and will help in create employment among the youth. 7, entrepreneurial institutions, masterclass. This will be a session for leaders of universities keen on strengthening innovation. 8, agri-tech and fintech summits. This will give insights to innovative solutions being created to address challenges and tap into opportunities. 9, Commonwealth Startup Festival, and this will be our climax, from where startups from the entire Commonwealth family will pitch to investors to attract partners, funders, and customers. Startups pitching will compete for prizes and recognition. From above, we do hope to have startups that are tackling challenges that would then climax at the Commonwealth Startup Festival. In addition to these thematic summits, we are proud as a nation to announce the launch of several special programs and projects during this Innovation Week. There will be the Commonwealth Data Science Partnership, Commonwealth Innovation Ecosystem Advisory Council, Kenya's 10-year Innovation Master Plan, and African Development Bank Innovation Fund. Ladies and gentlemen, this Kenya Investment Week 2023 Commonwealth edition is not yet full. There are still excellent opportunities for Commonwealth countries and partners to propose initiatives and side events for inclusion in our week-long program. All we ask of you is to share your ideas and collaborate with us to make this edition of the Kenya Innovation Week truly exceptional. On my behalf, on behalf of the government of Kenya, I do extend our sincere appreciation to all our partners, stakeholders, and participants who have contributed to the success of the Kenya Innovation Week over the years. In conclusion, to all the ambassadors and heads of missions present today, this is an opportunity for you to extend our collaboration and open up our markets for shared prosperity of our nations. Thank you, and let us embark on this exciting journey together. God bless you all. God bless Kenya. Speech by His Excellency, Honorable Dr. Musalia Mudavadi, EGH, Prime Cabinet Secretary of the Republic of Kenya. That was verbatim. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. So Tom, continue doing an excellent job. Asanteni sana.
Thank you very much, our PS and our ambassador, for setting that stage, and I think that's a commitment from the highest office of government about the support that there is towards a global platform later in the year. Now, I ideally don't speak after the chief guest speaks, but there's a very special clip. I noticed that we all liked clips. There's a very special clip that we're going to play, and then we wrap up. The head of state actually pronounced himself about the Innovation Week in December. Over to you, George.
Another pillar of Talanta Hela involves the Kenya National Innovation Agency, and I listened to them when they were speaking to us here, which has been designated to implement the Presidential Innovation Challenge. an online initiative to encourage our youth to create disruptive innovations and revolutionary ideas in every sector, including technology, agriculture, the blue economy, and forestry, among others. I look forward to seeing many exciting breakthroughs at this year's Kenya Innovation Week, including, hopefully, one that solves the intergenerational entrepreneurial conundrum. How do we make agriculture cool to attract our young people? That on Jamhuri Day, I will be awarding the winners of the Presidential Innovation Challenge. I am looking forward. Vijana mkae rada, tutakutana huko kwa Innovation Week.
There's no better way
Hi,
to end it.
I'm correct.
There's no better way to end it. And now I'd like to invite our chief guest for a photo that I will keep forever. Please come up, and you come with a copy of the concept note of 2023, and that will be the simple way of unveiling. That's the first photo. So I'll invite the two, and the second photo, I'm going to invite the high commissioners and ambassadors who are in the room as part of our celebration of the Commonwealth effort. And then thirdly, we're going to have a photo of partners to rise up. So our chief guest, you will have to be patient with me, but it's just 3 photos. Thank you very much. Good. Yeah. So